go about it and to make our future generations to live happily on this earth. Dear friends, this is we have a lot of things. We today's world we don't have time to explore things which we need to be explored in our engineering practice to do the things for the betterment of future generations. Out of which I have some whatever my thoughts I am presenting to you all. Bear with me for some time. Role of alternative materials, that is one, when we are designing any kind of building, we have a material choices. We need to make a choice what kind of thoughts your conceptualizing is taking place through your architects. As engineers, we also do conceptualizations, and the locality, the topography, the climatology, all these things also need the hour to while designing a building. And when your building is conceived and intrinsically linked to its materiality also. And when designing buildings, we usually have a choice as a what materials to specify. As a consultants, we have that choice depending on the cost and as well as the availability and resources other places from other places. And materials can be compared as being more or less harmful to the environment. See, first of all, we should understand that whatever the materials we are choosing, there should be a zero harm to our environment, what our surroundings, to this nature, this great mother earth. And we should obviously choose less harmful materials, and we should use materials that use very less energy. In less energy means that whatever the materials you are making now or you're using, they consume. We'll discuss in the next slides in a very detailed fashion how much the energies they consume, what is the embodied energy they consume. So all those things we'll discuss, and we should use materials that make our buildings more efficient. Efficient means in efficient by lighting, efficient by air circulation, efficient by the more comfortability, more more better circulation. All those things. This is a efficient planning and materials also is part of our planning. And material should be both. It should be one materials. Sometimes the materials which may look ugly also, but there should be beautiful and enduring for our habitable conditions. The statistics, as per the World Bank, says if the world population reaches as the projected number by 9.6 billions by 2050, that we need three Earth planets to maintain today's humanity's current lifestyle. Understand where we are leading, and the construction industry has a significant impact with materials and construction products causing carbon dioxide emissions in activities such as mining, transportation, factories, and combining all the chemical products. In an overall view, if you see what is the percentage of contribution of this segment of our building industry, from concrete and steel and aluminium, 22.7% of the carbon emissions we are adding to the industry. And through the preparation industry, the processing and material making industry is adding 20.3%. And the transportation from mining to industry to the different logistic points and to the end user, that is causing 23% of the carbon emissions. And others which are not we cannot tell when we consume, that is others is 6%. And what is the embodied carbon? Embodied carbon, when see example, if you take a brick, when you excavate the soil, get it to the energy to shape it as a clay and sand, water into bricks. So when you're using water, you pump the motor. That is also emission of the carbon. Sand, that is also you use material machinery, and from there you energy to the heat the shaped bricks, and from there you transport. That is also emissions of the carbon, the vehicles, and the energy to use the bricks at site. You use cranes and other vertical transportation materials, that is also causing a carbon emission. And finally, energy used if bricks are wasted, and that is also you're dumping somewhere all the building waste, that is also causing a carbon emission. So this is a cycle. A product, once if you look at the simple a brick, so much of energy involved in this, and we are consuming a lot of energy, which causes a carbon emission. And embodied carbon. What is embodied carbon of the building materials? This is all, say, some of the materials, fiberglass, 8.1% of the carbon emissions will be giving. Aluminium, likewise stone and timber, cement glass. So this is the percentages of embodied carbon. If you use a lead, this is the embodied carbon is emitted at the when you're getting product till your stage. So a life cycle analysis of a construction product. As I told you in the break, this is the total how many products, whatever the products you are using, same, the construction, right from distribution, transportation, construction and installation and use. The product which you get, it will be used for the install and maintenance, repair, replacement and buildings operational use. From there, end of life, once you have a 30 years, now these days, this has become a practice now. 30, 40 years, we are getting demolished now. So the deconstruction, demolition, transportation, reuse, and recycling and disposal as a waste. So these are all life cycle of a construction product, and raw material to construction, construction to the use to the again end of life. Ultimately, it becomes a demolition product. So that also how to use. Now, what is virgin and recycled and reused? It is preferable to use renewable material. Everybody says use sustainable material. Everybody says renewable material. But when it is not possible, one can source. So recycled materials are materials with a significant recycle content, such as steel, whereas a good percent of the product is put to back into the manufacture of goods at the end of the life. We can recycle total steel, whatever the used or after demolition, are reused materials. Preferred it is not necessary to additional energy in remanufacturing the product. There is a simple thin line between the recycled and reused. Reused, so everywhere we have the energy consumption is there, and by which we are all carbon is emission. What are the harmful materials? Everybody says so this is cement is emitting so much, steel is emitting so much. But what are the harmful materials which are toxic to the environment? Harvest endangers wildlife, removes habitat, the mining and other places, and harvest endangers comprises local people, the habitats which are living near the mining areas, or wherever the products raw material required, and the processing or manufacturing harms the environment, and the materials are limited as a resource. And as you said, 3 years required to maintain our population of 9.6 billions in 2050. Where you get that resources? So every resource is very limited today. Some materials are not easy to reuse and recycle also, and some materials are energy intensive and renewable and non-renewable. What is the renewable and non-renewable? Materials can be classified as renewable or non-renewable. Renewable means we can reuse or put into use, and the non-renewable is which is not at all can be applicable again, used again. So non-renewable materials includes materials, stones, items that do not grow again. And renewable materials includes wood, straw, bamboo, and a growing substance which can be not harmful for this Mother Earth. What is carbon footprint? The carbon footprint corresponds to the whole amount of greenhouse gases produced to directly and indirectly and support a person's lifestyle and activities. I was told that the recent in discussions, the last lockdown period of 3-4 months, because of lot of rains in all over the places, in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, every place. So there is a lot of recycling happened in this atmosphere and the weather, and a lot of rains happening because of there is no emission of gases. because of the lockdown period. So there is understand a simple carbon footprint, how it changes our lifestyles and our activities. And carbon footprints are usually measured in equivalent tons of CO2, carbon dioxide, during the period of a year, and they can be associated with an individual or any organization or a product or a event, among others. See, any individual, a person, what are the consumables you are using today? A car, a mobile, or anything, a laptop, or water pumping. All those also persons, individuals, and organizations, the seating HVACs, fire, and other materials they are using in the organizations, lights, and a product when you're delivering a product, that a lot of consumption of the energies into it, and material process that also emits the carbons. And any event, I say any event means a conglomeration of places, people, and among the others, these are the things which carbon is very no now part of our lifestyle. If you assume the statistics says 1.05 billion tons of in 2002 CO2 emission in India. Now in 2018, almost it is 1.5 and 150 times it is increased. Means, so the population is increasing, needs are increasing, and the requirements are increasing. With that, from 2002 to 2018, 2.65 billion tons means, imagine what is the harm we are doing for ourselves. See the causes. What are the causes for this mainly carbon emissions? Scope one is a direct cause, like vehicles and company, what are the facilities we are using. The second one is indirect. Indirect means purchase of electricity, goods, items, steam, heating, so on, so on, so whatever the applicable your appliances you are using in your home, they're all the indirect. And the scope three also in indirectly is purchase goods, services, everything whatever you are using today is getting transported somewhere. You're flying somewhere, or your business travel, your waste generated from your operations is a direct, indirect causing of carbon emissions. And scope three indirectly, and is also the distribution, franchises, leased asset, everything, whatever today we are using, somewhere the other way we are emitting the carbon. The greenhouse gases emissions by sector wise in 2016, as per studies in India, is you see yourself on the screen. And third is the construction and manufacturing industry. So in this category, most of the things which you use in the building segment is from the construction industry is the third place we are occupying in the sector-wise emissions. Understand what we are doing to this nature. And what is the embodied energy? Embodied energy is the energy associated with the harvesting or mining, manufacture, and transportation or construction of a material. Transportation energy is a significant of all materials, even they are of the renewable variety also. And materials with high embodied energy are less desirable from a sustainable perspective. Materials with high embodied energy are less desirable from a sustainable perspective, means which are more harmful for us, which cannot be reusable. So there is a recycle and reusable with a high embodied energy things which cannot be more not reusable. So they are not sustainable perspective. And high energy materials like irreplaceable for certain uses, concrete for its thermal masses, aluminum for its durability, and steel for its. They're all necessary for all of us in a building segment. Building sector, we cannot live without concrete now, and the aluminum products. Likewise, steel, without steel we cannot construct a RCC building or any building, including the composite or only steel buildings also. So understanding carbon, embodied carbon comes from the manufacturing, transportation, and installation of construction materials, and the operational carbon emissions from the building. Operational carbon is from the building energy consumption. This is the overall global scenario which I have shown you in the Indian scenario also. This is the global scenario. From there also we are occupying a second place in overall the world. Industry is a manufacturing industry is the first place, and building operations and building industry, building materials and industry is 11% and 28%. So understand how much we are carbon emitting in this from this industry, building material industry. See, if you use and understanding the carbon, embodied carbon comes from the manufacturing 10%, and the embodied carbon is 73%, and transportation is 2%. It comes to the 85%. Raw material extraction and everything. 61 plus 10 plus 2 is 73%. And end of life management last when you use for re-put or reuse, that is a 5%. Use and maintenance operational is 22%. And this is what a 100% scenario where we are. So majorly when your raw material to the transportation of using of a product, you are consuming embodied carbon is around 73%. To understand where we can minimize, how to minimize this. These are the thermal conductivity capacities from our NBC part 11. It is very sustainability. How to use it, materials. What are the materials and how we can choose our materials from this table. These are the tables of different materials. So accordingly, you choose your materials and differently. And now comes to the alternative natural materials, what to be used to minimize the carbon footprint for this year. One is a very good example is straw bales. Rather than relying on the new research and technology, straw bale building harkens back to the days when homes were built from natural and locally occurring materials. Straw bales we know which is a byproduct of the our rice and other agriculture produce. So straw bales are used to create a homes walls inside of a frame, replacing other building materials such as concrete, wood, gypsum, plaster, fiberglass, or stone, which are all manufactured. When properly sealed, straw bales naturally provides very high level of insulation for a hot and cold climate, and are not only affordable but sustainable as straw is rapidly renewable source. This is a grasscrete. As its name might indicate, grasscrete is a method of laying concrete flooring, walkways, sidewalks, and driveways in such a manner where there are open patterns allowing grass, other flora to grow on your grasscrete. While this provides the benefit of reducing concrete usage overall, and there are also some other important perk that is improved stormwater absorption and drainage to the percolation to the ground. And this is a ram depth where that more natural than dirt under your feet. In fact,
or you can give your access chamber over there.
walls that have a similar feel to concrete can actually be created with nothing more than that hammered down very tightly in wooden form. Ram depth is a technology that has been used by human civilization for thousands of years and can last a very long time. Modern rammed buildings can be more made safer by using a rebar or a bamboo, and the mechanical tampers reduce the amount of labor required to create sturdy walls. Means we have this rammed now introduced with a rebar and bamboos and create a very stable structure and which will be used for longer time and which is again a sustainable product. See, all these things, whatever the materials I'm talking about, of the almost zero emission of the carbon. So hempcrete is just what it sounds like, a concrete-like material created from the woody inner fibers of the hemp plant. The hemp fibers are bound with lime to create concrete, like shapes that are strong and light. And hempcrete blocks are super lightweight, which can also dramatically reduce the energy used to transport the blocks. And hemp itself is a fast growing and renewable source, and which is also a sustainable product with a zero carbon emission. The bamboos. Bamboo might have now there is in India now bamboo mission is on the very aggressively they are doing bamboo mission. Bamboo might have been seen trendy, but it has actually been a locally source building material in some regions of the world of millennia. What makes bamboo such as a promising building material for modern buildings is its combination of tensile strength, lightweight, and fast growing renewable nature. Used for framing buildings and shelters, bamboo can replace expensive and heavy imported materials and provide an alternative to concrete and rebar construction, especially in difficult to reach areas and post disaster rebuildings and low income areas with access to natural locally sourced bamboo. See, in the northeast, now this is a bamboo mission is accessibly all the places in the northeast and the part of the Uttarakhand. They are using bamboo as a rebar and the bamboo construction and all the materials, so the daily usable materials also, consumables also, like appliances, they are making from the bamboo. So use bamboo as much as possible wherever the availability is there. And the recycled plastic, instead of mining and extracting and milling new components, researchers are creating concrete that includes ground up recycled plastic and trash, which not only reduces greenhouse gas emissions but reduces weight and provides a new use of landfill clubbing plastic waste. In Hyderabad, we have seen around 40 acres of landfill, which is filled, which will be decomposed after thousands of years, which was filled for, now it is capped with the other materials and with the greenery. But below that, there is a lot of carbon emissions is happening. Such places everywhere now we have a carbon plastic is such a hazardous material for all of us, and we are using everything plastic these days. So you can recycle it and use for our building construction industry. We are also recently we are using in roads also. In the bituminous, we are mixing as a plastic also for roads, and which is giving a good results. And so we can use in the building materials as a recycled plastic as one of the component. And wood. Plain wood still remains many advantages over more industrial building materials like concrete or steel. Not only do trees absorb CO2, carbon dioxide, as they grow, they require much less energy and intensive methods to process into construction products. So properly managed forests are also renewable and ensure a biodiverse habitat. Mycelium. Mycelium is a crazy futuristic building material that's actually totally natural. It comprises the root structure of fungi and mushrooms. Mycelium can be encouraged to grow around a composite of other natural materials, and like a ground up straw in molds or forms, and then air dried to create a lightweight and strong bricks and other shapes. You can see the figure, you will understand yourself how it can be used. Ashcrete. Ashcrete is a concrete alternative that uses fly ash instead of traditional cement. By using fly ash, a byproduct of burning coal, 97% of the traditional components in concrete can be replaced with a recycled material, making like ashcrete. Timbercrete. Timbercrete is a building material made of sawdust and concrete mixed together. And since it is lighter than concrete, it reduces the transportation emissions, and sawdust both reuses as a waste product and replaces some of the energy intensive components of traditional concrete. Timbercrete can be formed into traditional shapes such as blocks, bricks, pavers, and whatever the wooden floorings you are doing, one of the timbercrete materials we are using as a wooden flooring these days. And you can see the beside picture, there's a building built with the timbercrete. The ferrox. Ferrox is a new material being researched that uses recycled materials, including steel dust from the steel industry, and create a concrete like building material that even stronger than the concrete. What's more, the unique material actually absorbs and traps carbon dioxide as a part of its drying and hardening process, making it not only less carbon dioxide intensive than traditional concrete, but actually this is a carbon neutral product. There is zero carbon in this. Cob walls. Cob walls are the traditional system of walls construction done with the soil along with sufficient clay, rough sands, small stones, straw and water. Cob when formed as one of the moss is called monolithic lobe. Cob is suitable for construction where suitable clay in soil and sand, preferably 30%. Like most probably in the most parts of the Rajasthan uses this practice. Unlike adobe, brick buildings, cob walls do not require mortar joints and therefore provide additional strength to the building. And the plastering can be done in 1:3 lime and sand for exterior and interior finishes for the water protection. Stone. Stone is a durable and an abundant resource. It has much lower embodied energy as compared to brick and concrete, which is normally manufactured, it will have a lot of embodied energy which consumes and which emits a lot of carbon dioxide. And it has much lower embodied energy as compared to the brick and concrete. It is a natural material and hence requires much less energy in processing. And stone is good in compressive strength, but low in tensile strength. It is used as a masonry, cladding, and floorings. Sustainable methodology should be the use of locally available excavated and undressed stone to the maximum possible extent, subject to the compliance to the environmental rules and regulations relating to its mining. So alternative building materials now, GZBS, a byproduct, a friendly, environmentally friendly product that made from a byproduct of iron manufacturing, and it's high quality and least CO2 material. Because GZBS has low embodied CO2, it allows designing concrete mixes for sustainable construction. It is an alternative for the Portland cement in construction of ready-mix concrete, precast concrete, cement-based formulations, soil stabilizations, and where there's a special need structures like where we can use lime and gypsum-based products. Lime produced as a waste material of paper mills, oxygen plants, and other industries. Gypsum produces a byproduct of the fertilizers and aluminum plants. And the fly ash based products, fly ash, all of you know this, fly ash, how many ways we can use it. Slag, sand, interlock pavers, compressed mud blocks, interlock mud blocks, cement bricks, lime gypsum blocks, and polymer based products, epoxy resins, including solid resins and terrazzo flooring, ethylene, fluoroethylene, and fabric structures, polycarbonates, ethyl vinyl estates, and so many products we have now, alternative materials for to use for the building materials. So this is a vast topic, and which is going to be handled by our next speaker, Kalagal sir, and I'm just leaving it here. And alternative materials, the aluminium, bitumen materials, soil conditioning agents, tempered glass, crump rubbers, fiber reinforced polymers, glass fiber reinforced plastic, bamboo reinforced plastic, ferrocements, polyester fibers, cores, recycled wood and metal. All these are the building materials, which alternative materials, which are having a almost neutral carbon emissions. Say example, aluminium. Advantages more than 300 commercialized applications, and 35% of aluminium produced is in common in construction now, and non-corrosive, high durability and low maintenance, and can be alloyed and ductile and malleable and aesthetically attractive. Applications, you can see a lot of applications are there where you can use windows, doors, facades, door handles, staircases, HVAC, and as a support structure for solars, wall cladding, panels. So many applications are there which aluminum can be used. And bituminous materials reduces permanent deformations and fatigue cracks, low temperature cracking, soil conditioning agents, Bentonite slurry, polymer liquids, foams, and we can use in applications of tunneling, pipe jacking, super safe cave systems, waterproofing, roofing like shingles. We have used this bitumen material as a roofing system in one of our projects as shingles, which is a composite product of the bitumen and other material. And tempered glass. Thermally tempered glazing, automobile windows, polycarbonate glazing, bulletproof glazing, crumb rubber, thermally tempered glazing, windows, helps in noise reduction, anti-skid, and these are the major products. Now in foundations, what are all the we can use as the alternative materials? Like each level from foundation to the building top level we have described, and the concrete foundations to have their place. However, screw piles can be used for a vast amount of foundation work in modern buildings. They offer a far more eco-friendly alternative to the traditional methods and are also lower in cost and thus have become increasingly popular in the last decade or so. You can see a building standing there with a standing on the screw piles. Screw piles are also take a lot of less time to install and this makes for a shorter project time. In turn, they also require far fewer people to install than the traditional foundations. Now you are all facing the labor problems, all of you know. So this is one of the best option. The fewer people means less energy required and a lower carbon footprint. Installation of concrete foundations is a heavy task and one of that requires large amount of very heavy machinery which produces a lot of carbon emissions. While traditional foundations require a lot of soil displacement and removal of excess soil from the site, piles, and don't do that. This saves immensely on transportation cost also. Green concrete. A green concrete is a form of eco-friendly concrete that is manufactured using waste or residual material from different industries and requires less amount of energy for production. Compared to the traditional concrete, it produces less carbon dioxide and is considered cheap and more durable. Partial replacement of energy consuming cement with reusable materials is among the best strategies used to achieve eco-friendly construction materials. For example, fly ash, silica fume, wood ash, etc. And composite cement. With the use of the composite material and foam beads, the Patax wall system is a strong and less energy requiring alternative to traditional concrete. This is an improved method of constructing walls that can be fire-proof and storm-resistant and sound-absorbing. You can use the way the green concrete is used. And the plastic waste. Utilizing the waste plastic is a smart move. As it is a non-biodegradable material, plastic waste is easily recycled and can easily replace up to 20% of traditional aggregate material. Although concrete produced using plastic waste provides strength within a specific limit, it is unarguably an eco-friendly alternative to traditional concrete. Potential alternative to carbon dioxide emitting concrete. Despite the availability of the various alternative traditional concrete, researchers are still working on manufacturing better and eco-friendlier concrete. A British manufacturer, Novasem, claims to have developed a carbon dioxide absorbing concrete. I repeat, Novasem claims to have developed a carbon dioxide absorbing concrete using magnesium sulfate. According to the manufacturer, the new kind of concrete can be absorbed up to 0.6 tons of carbon dioxide compared to a ton of traditional concrete, which emits around 0.4 tons of CO2. See, the foundation natural resources, natural alternative materials are stone foundations. Special properties, economical aspect, low cost, stability is very good. Skilled labor is required, equipment, machinery equipment, and resistant to earthquake, medium to good, resistant to hurricanes, good, resistant to rain, very good, and like thermite, very good. Climatic stability, all climate stable, and stage of experience is widely used various parts of this country. Rammed foundations. These are the special properties on the left hand side, right hand side. You can see the what are the advantages and the resistance to earthquake is very low, though resistance to hurricanes are very low. But wherever that required necessary, you can use this for the alternative housings. Burnt brick clays foundations, special properties are there, and it is a very medium to good for the including earthquake. And it's suitable for the all the climates, most climates. Like split bottom pipe foundation.
కాబట్టి బిడ్డలు హుషారున్నారు అని అన్నాడు. నువ్వు హుషారున్నావు అని మేము హుషారున్నాం అన్నారా?
Can I continue? Special properties, split bamboo pile foundations. Special properties are like, and it's very good for the all kind of weather conditions, including earthquake. Wood post foundations, it is a foundations where we can use alternative for the regular foundation. The reinforcement, steel. Steel has been the most dominant structural support the building material for the better part of the past century. And from structural steel profiles, support beams, columns, joists to rebar and other concrete reinforcements. Steel provides unparalleled flexibility coupled with high strength and durability. It is also seen as sustainable building material as it is highly recyclable and reusable. Although steel will continue to dominate the realm of structural building materials for the foreseeable future, pultruded fiber reinforced plastic is an attractive alternative that offers superior corrosion resistance and higher strength to weight ratios. So we can use FRP steel also for the alternative. Make materials like engineered timber, stainless steel, and metal composites are becoming more common in new construction projects as alternative materials. Reinforcement, fiberglass reinforcement polymer bars. Glass fiber reinforcement polymer bars are present a feasible and cost-effective solution to the problem of steel corrosion and a composite material made of polymer reinforced with fibers consisting of thermosetting resins and glass fiber. The tensile strength is about 1.5 times higher than the normal steel. And special features, high strength, lightweight, resistance, design flexibility and seamless construction, and low maintenance and durability. Bamboo, one of the best option as a reinforcement, and basalt reinforced bars, it weighs 4 times less than the steel rebar and its tensile strength is 3 times higher. Basalt rebar are manufactured from basalt fibers from the protrusion technology. The surface is profiled and sanded. The kind of surface treatment results in a better adhesion to the concrete. Floorings. Cork floor tiles. The eco-friendly flooring is made from the bark of the cork oak tree. The material is fire resistant and relatively inexpensive, which makes it an attractive option as alternative material. Pros are the advantages of this. The material has a small air-filled chambers that works as a natural sound insulators. Suberin found in cork is a antimicrobial and repels insects. Cork is a soft and cushiony underfoot. It requires only sweeping and vacuuming to remove small dirt and grim. And bamboo floor tiles, an excellent alternative to hardwood. Bamboo is a recyclable, sustainable material which can be grown and regrown, and bamboo is harder than oak, which makes it good option too for the floorings. Reclaimed hardwood floor tiles. While wood offers warmth to the areas, it does come from the felling of forest trees. An ecologically viable option is reclaimed hardwood. Wood that has been processed and retrieved from the old and original wood. Hardwood is both sturdy and easy. It is a hardwood and both sturdy and easy to maintain. Hardwood flooring has stood the test of the time and is durable. It has an undeniable charm that can add the style and interiors. This type of flooring just needs to be vacuumed and occasionally cleaned with a wood floor cleaner. And limestone floor tiles. A sedimentary natural rock, limestone is a material that has been used in the architecture and is made of calcium carbonate. It's available in a variety of sizes and makes it a popular choice. Compared to granite and marble, limestone is cheaper to buy and install, and it's many parts of the country it's locally available. And it's available in a variety of shades that can add a rustic feel to the decor. The stone is versatile and can be cut into any size of your choice. Large format planks and other geometric shapes, whatever you require. This also include for the you can use it for the claddings also. Linoleum floor tiles, flooring, a resilient flooring material made from the linseed oils, wood floor, tree resin, jute and cork powder and in linseed oils. Linoleum is another natural flooring option. That material does not emit harmful volatile organic compounds and is easy to maintain as well. The pigments in linoleum are well spread out that give a uniform look and also help camouflage with any scratches. Recycled glass tiles. Recycled glass tiles are produced by melting down waste glass in furnaces heated to temperature exceeding 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. The molten glass is then stamped into shape, height trimmed, and ground to its finished form. Most of us must have seen the glass making factories in the USA and Canada and the other parts of the India also. It's a wonderful art, the glass they make. And glass tiles can be used anywhere normal ceramic tiles would be installed. And they have the added benefit of being resistant to the chemicals and stains, and which makes them good for areas that are prone to getting wet always. And this can be installed on floors, walls, countertops, tabletops, among other locations. They can be used outdoors as well as for the indoors. Wall surfaces. Stabilized compressed earth blocks made of mud stabilized with the 5% of cement or lime, etc., and compacted in block making machine with a no burning can be used for the wall surfaces. And stabilized an improvement over traditional adobe, the sun-dried mud blocks in which mud is mixed with small portion of cement and lime are broken or cut grass as a reinforcing media or the fiber reinforced to impart the strength to lower the permeability. Paul stabilized mud blocks. These are the much stronger, which less water absorption and cheaper than the cement stabilized blocks. With 5 to 10% of Paul 30% saving in cement could be achieved in addition to utilization of waste product like fly ash. So everything, whatever you're using, seeing the materials here having almost the neutral carbon emissions. Clay fly ash burn bricks made from the fly ash and clay are stronger than the conventional burnt clay bricks, consume less energy, provide better thermal installations. So already these products we discussed, fly ash, lime gypsum, Polgy. And the latter blocks, these are improved brick made from laterite soils and cement or lime, cheaper in trend and also available in pleasing hue colors. Wall surfaces. Precast stone blocks made using waste stone pieces of various sizes with a lean cement concrete and enable a rational use of locally available materials. Shaping stones in this enable speedy construction. Here I would like to tell you example. One person called Stellar in Hyderabad. That person is having a sawmill. Whatever the material it cuts, that wood cuts, all the wastage you makes into different shapes, and he has a stall in the very prime area of the Hyderabad in the Jubilee Hills, and he sells it for the very huge premium prices, telling that this is one of the best features we have made for you all. So there is one of the best shop in all the VIPs go and buy there. So best use of the material of the sawmill. So likewise, precast stone blocks and fly ash-based lightweight aerated concrete walling and roofing blocks also can be used. And RATAP brand, the technique which we used for one of the IAS officer construction in the last 20 years back, we used this RATAP band, which is having a natural, natural insulation properties. We can use this as one of the to cut down on the HVACs and other wall surfaces, bamboo, timber mat based walls, plastered on either side of them, side by mud and cement mortar or bamboo mat placed between the horizontal and vertical members. Bamboo as a frame are easy to construct, less cost and are popular. And composite ferro cement system, this everybody knows and extensively people are using at various places. Roofs, roof materials and its carbon emissions. T presumably stands for metric ton, which is somewhat larger than the American ton. Clay tile has a carbon footprint of around 4.4 tons of CO2 emission. Sheet metal roofing that is not recycled has a carbon footprint of around 9.85 tons of CO2 emission. And the carbon footprint of concrete tile was not given, but it's the intermediate. Sheet metal roofing that is recycled can obtain significant carbon and embodied energy saving benefits. That is 71 to 73%. We can use a sheet metal, which is saving of 71 to 73% compared to clay tile and concrete roof covers. A grammatically ambiguous statement that seems to be such as the following: metal roof, if recycled, and a concrete tile as a carbon footprint. This 1.27 tons and 4.27 ton emissions we can reduce. If you recycle materials, metal if recycled 1.27 tons will be saved. And likewise, concrete and other material. Asphalt shingles, this is already I told you, which we used already recently. And metal roofs are moderated in cost and relatively long lasting and other order of the 60 years. Their R value is low, but they conduct very little heat into the house, especially if given a heat reflective coating. The metal will be recycled, and at the end of the service, their total carbon footprint is quite low. Their resistance, most kinds of the damage very well, and they don't burn. And also, it do have aesthetic, maybe other materials, but do have one aesthetic disadvantage. Rain falling on them is very noisy when you use it. Roofs, standing seam roofing. Standing seam roofing is a type of metal roofing made of vertical panels with two seams per panel that stands up vertically. They offer a more finished appearance and better durability than traditional corrugated metal roofing. Standing seam roofing is commonly available in galvanized steel, galvalume, and copper material. Solar shingles, already I told you. And roofs, the advantages and life extended thatch roofing, precast big panels, coconut fiber and wooden chip roofings, country tile roofing, corrugated bamboo roofing, pyramid block roof, brick roof, micro concrete roof tiles, stone putty roofing. So many things we can use, so many alternative materials we can use which we emit less carbon emissions. Tips to reduce carbon footprint. Evaluate and measure a building design carbon footprint as early as in the possible when you're conceptualizing stage, when your design stage itself, you evaluate what are the materials you're going to use. The second thing is, since HVAC comprises of 40% of all carbon emissions, incorporating the most of the efficient heating, ventilation and air conditioning system along with efficient operations and scheduled maintenance of the systems reduce the carbon footprint. Today, even today, the Golconda Fort, where the king used to stay on the top of the Golconda Fort, have a natural air conditioning system where if you go there, there is a way airflow turns into three directions, comes as a very cool air on the top of Golconda Fort in Hyderabad. So such already they are established and they know our earlier generations know how to use the nature very well. But we also need to give time and adapt to it to make it more sustainable. And insulations. Continuous insulation is an insulation that is continuous across all the structural members without thermal bridges, other than the fasteners and service openings. It is installed on the interior and exterior or is integral to any opaque surface of the building. So insulation is also will make you more building more sustainable for the using of the energies. Use state-of-the-art lighting and optimize daylighting. Lighting accounts for approximately 40% of the energy used in the typical commercial buildings, and the solar thermal gain lowers carbon footprints. Now we are all the buildings, most of the commercial buildings and software offices or any kind of a building which are used air conditioning, and also they all close the windows with all the very beautiful curtains and other things, and they don't want natural light. But when you don't understand, we will not understand, we will not tell our customers that if you use such things, why you use of giving a windows openings, even though normally our 20% is for corporate area to be openings to be there. But even more than that, under 40% till 40%, you can have a minimum lighting usage for any building, which saves a lot of carbon emissions. And from there, you have a recycled steel reduces mining waste by 97% and air pollution by 86% and water pollution by 76%. Understand, one steel is such if you recycle, so much advantages are there. And water usage. A major factor contributing to the carbon footprint of a building is the amount of energy expended to supply, treat, and use its water. And waste-oriented, water-oriented strategies significantly reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. Next, the building carbon footprint can be reduced by sourcing its operational energy from environmental responsible sources or by generating renewable energy on site. And most of the people now captive solar panels are there, going for the solar panels, but the space is not available as per the use demand and the capacity of the installation demand. That imbalance we need to match it. So how to we need to delve into it, and more research is required how to make it as a renewable energy used for these buildings. And a building location will have a direct impact on its overall carbon footprint. Highly efficient buildings should be oriented along the east-west axis, maximizing the north and south facing glazing. This is a very important subject. As engineers, we should understand. We studied in engineering first year. Most of us studied in various parts, and NBC. We should refer that the climatology and the topography of any area which buildings you are designing is a primary aspect is how you are orienting your building, of what kind of energies you need to reduce in minimizing the carbon emissions. This is a very good, a very important aspect any designer of a building should look at. Benefits of the alternative building materials are reducing a building's carbon footprint, reduces its running cost, improves employee morals, and raises property values and improves LEED and Gruha scores. And building becomes environmentally responsible, profitable, and healthier place to live and work in. Your environment and your emissions reduction and water conservation, stormwater management, temperature moderation, waste reduction, these are the very important for the environment. As well as the economics wise, energy and water saving, increased property values. When you have a lot of rating buildings, you have a value also increased. And somebody suggested today in one of the webinar where the property taxes also to be less. So already it is applicable in many of the states in India, and there should be more encouragement is required. And decreased infrastructure strain and improved employee attendance, increased employee productivity and sales improvement, and development of a local talent pool for economizing every of the aspects of your working systems. And social, it will give a improved health, improved schools, healthier lifestyles and recreation. And we should plan in these three aspects of environment, economy, and social impact. All these three aspects, when you design a building, please keep in mind. But if you're designing a building of spending so many crores, it doesn't mean that it gives a socially you are responsible for it, but you should make as a social responsible person any building design. This is a resolve framework. Used we have to illustrate how the circular economy can be applied in sustainable design. Remanufacture, recycle, reuse. That is, replace old with efficient materials. Like most of the cities now, all the old lighting systems are removed and LEDs LEDs came. Now the 40 to 50% energy saving with all that urban bodies now. And apply new technologies, choose sustainable products, and dematerialize and go virtual as much as possible, as we are doing now, and low it and optimize, that is increase performance and efficiency of the any product, and remove waste in production and supply chain. See, the supply chain is a big subject where we can discuss a lot of energies, how the carbon emissions are more there, and the loss of wastages, pilferages, all those things we can discuss. And leveraging big data and automation and remote sensing, and regenerate and share. Shift to renewable energy and materials, reclaim and retain and restore health of the ecosystems, and share to reuse and design for durability. Advantage of buildings to reduce carbon footprint is cost benefit, high energy efficiency, high water efficiency, high material efficiency, better temperature regulations, improved indoor environment quality, low repair and maintenance, improved employee attendance and productivity, higher property value and tax benefits. I'm sorry, the last two slides. to develop a strategy for the use and promotion of the environment-friendly construction materials and energy efficiency in buildings, and engineers and policymakers of our country to popularize the technology so that India can significantly contribute to reduction in CO2 emissions from its huge and rapidly growing construction sector, as we are our economy of 20% of our economy we spend on the construction industry. And construction technology sector can also play a major role in reduction of CO2 emissions and mitigate global warming. I told you that the rains after this lockdown is a best example. And the sensitization of people, extensive awareness campaigns and demonstrations among the general public, and also among engineers and architects to make them familiar with these technologies. And to preserve the scarce natural resources and energy for long run, green building construction practices should be introduced in all construction activities of private and public projects in India. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, and hope I just exceeded time. Sorry for that, and so thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajkumar. That was a wonderful presentation. And I'm sure all the participants have understood some of the intrinsic features of sustainable built environment, especially the materials that need to be used. This gave a kind of an insight into some of the various materials that need to be used in civil engineering construction. Friends, now I think it's a question and answer session. Before that, I request Secretary of Bangalore Center of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers to kindly address the gathering with some of his news and other activities that are going on in the association. And after that, we'll be getting into the question and answers. All of you can get your questions ready. Mr. Shrikant Channa.
Thank you, Rangnath sir. Thank you, Engineer Rajkumar, for your wonderful lecture. I think it is an enlightenment for all of us to, cultivate the habit of using the alternate building materials, which reduces the carbon footprint and reduces indirectly, and makes our life simple and more meaningful and affordable. So it is here that engineer is more responsible and more authoritatively give authority. With respect to the education is concerned, we are actually allowed that education portion are the leading of the construction industry since long back. All these things have been gone out of hand from civil engineering fraternity. With this respect, the professional has fallen into a different profession. Civil engineering profession is in others, as a subsidiary to the other profession, which we are tackling from our association larger extent, that how to bring it back on track, and it should get the required status that it was enjoying in earlier days. One of the such measures what we are tackling from association is to enlighten about the eligibility of a civil engineer in education of buildings or infrastructure projects. See, for example, NBC 2016 has given sufficient, not just sufficient, the required tools for an engineer to lead the role and take the lead in the construction and achieve all the goals that are entrusted to him. However, the administrative side of the construction industry is still not able to absorb those provisions, and it is still continuing with the old methodology of involving or making a lead role to a different profession rather than giving an important role to a construction engineer or a engineering profession. With this regard, I would like to give one small example that we had applied. We had tried to set it right in this National Accreditation and Assessment Council is there with the headquarters in Bangalore, that it had called for an architect, appointment of an architect dated 26th September, and the last date given was 30th October. Then what we did was, immediately on 29th we requested them by dashing a letter, look, these are not the things that you are supposed to call. You have to involve the civil engineers also, as if you want to give the opportunity to the civil engineers also. Then they next day they wrote back stating that in the annexure, you go through the annexure. Then we went through the annexure and we found that the annexure, the civil engineering subjects are also involved, but they had called for only architect. So then we told them, see, whatever you have written, calling for an architect, we cannot apply immediately as an engineer. As such, you modify your tender, then we civil engineers will apply for it, and that will be the justification for the profession. So then what they said is, no, you can also apply, but our tendering process will not change. It is already in the process and we are not going to change it. You can apply in the name of architect only and we will involve. Then we asked, finally, we consulted to the ACC legal advisor, and the legal advisor gave a draft that we should take this to a formal end. And with that regard, he gave a draft in that asking that COA registration is not mandatory for the civil engineer. If you are agreeing with that, please confirm. And we wrote this one on 20th October, and till now there is no reply. That means
Good evening, sir. I will have a technical session.
legal advisor
Tomorrow
said
morning I am coming.
they are
before.
going to
I'll call you once.
come to our this thing. Don't worry about the last date, and we will take them to a formal end later. So this is the status how this government bodies, semi-government bodies, corporate bodies are not, performing their legal duties that they should give to the different professions. This is one of the examples that I wanted to give you, our experience. I wanted to share with you that this is such a difficulty that to get the things more.
So
the engineering firms, engineers to be prepared to apply to all the tenders or quotations wherever there is a requirement or calling for an architect, please apply there. If they reject it, that will become a good case for us. Please, it is my request, humble request, and whoever is eligible, eligible in the sense that other eligibility, architect and other terminologies, you leave it apart. If you fit it financially, you please apply there. It is my humble request to all, so that we will take it further forward. If the application is rejected, please inform us. We will take that case forward. Thank you. This is the message from us.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Shrikant Chanal. Now I think the floor is open for question and answers. I think I'll call upon Mr. H.R. Girish, who has posed a question in the chat box. Mr. Girish, if you are there, you can come on and ask a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rangnath, so much. Thanks to the lecturer for such a good talk. My question is that with such a wide array of material present, is the software which will suggest us alternative material while at the same time provide us a matrix of the carbon footprint and emission related information? Point one. Point two is that is there a central repository of information as to where we can source these certified green materials? These are my two questions, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, one is about the software. Software, I am not aware so far. The material choosing software, which only thing is a designer to apply the material as per the need and requirement. This is my information. I don't know whether software is there or not. And the second one is, but when billing envelope, we can calculate that calculations, the energy calculations, all those things that our softwares are there, we can do that, where the energy saving can be done. And number two, this central material availability depository is there. In Green Building Council, it is there partly. And most of the materials we can use in our National Building Materials Research Center, and also many places there are available where we need to go to them and ask them. They will suggest you. Many materials are there, alternative materials, including
you.
bamboo mission. Bamboo mission also they are telling use reinforcement instead in place of steel. They are also having a lot of information, lot of R&D have done. So such things are there. We can only thing is we need to delve into it and get the material information.
Thank you, Dr. So my last question, if you don't mind, can you please throw light on how the civil engineers can get certified as green certified professionals? Because going forward, I think the competitive edge will be lost if green civil engineers are not getting themselves certified in this line. Thank you.
See, there is a Gruha is there who is certifying the any engineer and any practicing consultants, and also Green Building Council also lead is also certifying, and a lot of other forms also there where we can get certified. Energy ECBC also is there, and the lot of things are there. We can get certified ourselves. We need to write exams and get passed through and get the certification.
Yeah, next, I think Mr. Syed Aizaz Ahmad, he has a question. Mr. Ahmad, are you there? I'll read out the question. How much impact these materials for costing purpose?
Pardon?
He has asked a question. How much impact these materials have for costing purpose?
Casting.
Yeah. Maybe he's talking about what will be the percentage effect on the
materials which I showed in my slides.
Yes.
They are locally available. Always locally available materials are cheaper than the bought out material from outside. So always cost will be minimum 20% lesser than the bought out material from outside.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a small request. Anybody is having any query, you can share my mail ID. You can share me. I have a 6 o'clock other session I need to attend. So pardon me for that, and definitely I can answer all your queries through email.
Yeah, people who are having questions, they can either direct it to him or they can direct the questions to the association office. So we will see that the answers are taken and passed on.
Surely.
And yeah, Mr. Rajkumar, you want to say something?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, participants, for participating in today's lecture series. I request Mr. Shrikant Sinal to propose vote of thanks. Mr. Shrikant Sinal,
Thank you, Ranganath sir. I thank all the participants for taking part in this session, and I thank you, our Rajkumar Kacharla from for having a very good information on how to use the alternative material items of the building, flooring, roofing, so many items he has enumerated very meticulously. Hope all the members have at least something so that they can make use of this information in their day-to-day profession. So thank you one and all. Be safe, be in the house. Thank you. Good night.
Stay safe, and thank you very much, ACC, for this wonderful opportunity, especially Ajit sir and Ranganath sir for motivating me to do this, and all the people of ACC fraternity members, association members. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rajkumar, for that wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.